Hello and welcome to the Body Resilient Mum podcast. I'm your host, Louise Hurley, and I am here to elevate your body image one conversation at a time. Most of us have grown up believing that a thinner, smoother, tighter body and face is better. And if we have these things, then we have succeeded and will live happily ever after. When we've been surrounded by this message all of our lives in some form or other, we tend not to question it. It's just the way of the world. But have you ever stopped to wonder whether these standards that we've been holding ourselves to are even possible to achieve? And if we do try to match these standards, like losing weight or trying to remain wrinkle and dimple free, is it actually healthy? As mums, we feel under so much pressure to succeed in all areas of life, including trying not to look like we've grown and birthed a tiny human. This podcast will encourage you to challenge your long-term beliefs about what your body should look like and help you to move from a place of conflict with your body to a place of peace and acceptance. All right, we are live. How exciting. I am joined today by the beautiful, amazing, wonderful Kate Hickey. Welcome, Kate. I'm so excited that you're here to chat.
I'm so excited to be here too, Lou. I, I really admire and look up to you. So I was super grateful to be invited to come and speak with you about something that's really, really close to both of our hearts. So thank you for having me.
You are the perfect person for this. This is where we spend the first 5 minutes of the interview going, no, you're amazing. No, you're amazing.
No, you are. Stop it. We could do that all day.
Lifting each other up. How good. How good. Kate, we are usually like I'd introduce my guest, but you're so good at talking. Could you tell us what your business is, kind of what you do, and just generally tell us about the superstar that you are, where your passions lie as well?
Oh, amazing. So, hello, I am Kate Hickey. I am the owner and founder of Empower 360 Fitness, which is in Gladesville, which is in Sydney area. And we support women through all life phases, all the way from teenage girls right through to your pre and postnatal mum, your, let's call them the childbearing years age mums, and then all the way through to perimenopausal and menopausal women. And the thing that we do the best and that we love to do the most is to help women celebrate their bodies for the incredible vessel that they are and to train for strength instead of trying to make their body smaller.
Ah, and that is why you are the person I wanted to talk to today. Um, and I love, Kate, that you work with such a range of ages. So you see it all, right from, starting puberty through the teenage years to, like you just said, childbearing, and then the mums of mums, so the menopausal era as well. That brings me nicely to my very first question, because although like we haven't seen firsthand over the decades, but if we think about trends that we've seen in the media and photos, videos, going from like the 60s where it was like the waif like kind of era, or the silhouette of the 60s, and then like the 90s we had like the Kate Moss kind of heroin chic, was it like kind of the
Heroin chic. How the hell did they ever get that one through into mainstream
trend?
media, right?
Well, it was the 90s, hey.
Mhm.
And then to now, which, oh my God, what would you describe now? Like strong, lean with a big butt, maybe, is like what
Yeah.
it is now.
If
Um,
Kim Kardashian lifted weights.
yeah, yeah, maybe. Um, anyway, they're all ideals that we've kind of seen shift over the decades. And ideals doesn't mean that, it's something that we should all strive to compare ourselves to, but it is in society, it's held up as an ideal, isn't it? How have you seen these shifting trends? Because they do shift, like ideal trends, they've shifted in shape, size, weight. How have you seen the way that they impact women? Not just mums, but women, all the ages that you see. How has it affected their bodies?
Yeah, look, interestingly, I mean, if I just use myself and my own journey to start with, like I was an ex-professional dancer. And so, as a very young dancer, I was kind of striving for that and this is in the 90s, striving for that long, willowy ballet kind of ideal. And my body just wasn't shaped like that. Like I had really strong, muscly legs. And, the more I jumped, the more my quads got developed. And I just used to feel so inadequate, and I was constantly striving to make myself smaller. And then fast forward to when I then became a professional dancer. And I vividly remember there's two particular instances. One, when I was a cheerleader, I used to be a cheerleader for the Sydney Roosters for 6 years. And we got our uniforms back. I think it was like my second year with the squad. And my butt was so chunky that my skirt didn't cover my ass cheeks. So I was mortified because I actually had to send my uniform back to get like 2 extra inches put on the back of it so that my bum cheeks didn't hang out the bottom of the skirt. So even, like dance costumes weren't made to fit me. I remember fighting with another girl in a show that we were both in because there was only one pair of pants that actually fit a more curvy woman. And they even had written on the waistband BG, which stood for big girl. So I had to fight for the big girl jeans.
God.
And so, like society was constantly reinforcing this sort of norm of, regardless of what the shape or the aesthetic
Mm,
was or is, it is always still about being as lean as possible, right? Like even now that we have this body ideal that is a little bit more athletic, which is bloody great because for the first time, women are celebrated for having muscles. They've got to be long, lean muscles, don't they? And we have to be super toned. And all tone means is as much muscle as possible with as little fat as possible. And so, regardless of what era or age you're in, we are constantly being encouraged to chase this ideal of, maybe not necessarily smaller is better anymore, but leaner is always best.
mm. Yeah. And how do you feel that that has impacted mom, like you, but also the women that you work with? Like, have you noticed an impact either on their health, their mental health, their mindset? Do you notice anything with you or your clients?
Yeah, I do. I mean, there's probably in the two sort of age brackets of women that I'm working with, which is the newer mums, and let's call them, I call them the busy working woman. The older, when I say older, I'm talking women our age, 40 plus. The older women all understand that they need to be strong, but they still want to be really lean. And it's almost like it's a secondary, like I want to get strong and I want to put on lean muscle, but I'd also really love to lose a bit of weight too, please. And it's almost like it's not okay to want that for themselves anymore, but it's still in the back of their mind. And, with the new mums, the poor things are still wanting to make their bodies as small as possible, as fast as possible, and when they come to us, and I can say us because I know you're in exactly the same boat, asking for support with getting their body back,
Mm,
or, again, it seems like women are getting very smart at using euphemisms for I want to lose weight. So it'll be things like, I just really want to tone my core, again, like means I want muscles and no fat.
yeah,
Um, yeah, and so I think there's probably a bit of a sense of confusion even for the more modern woman because we've got this conflicting advice all the time of that, we now know that strong is best, but it's also, served up with a side of, but you still need to be really lean. And I
yeah,
think that can be really frigging confusing for a woman, right? Like I know I need to be strong, but I'm also being told by every, Instagrammer and celebrity around me that I still need to be as small as possible. I mean, look at, I don't want to name names, but there's really powerful, strong athletes out there that are now spokeswomen for effing Ozempic.
yeah.
Like, what are we? How on earth does the laywoman ever learn to celebrate her own body when our strongest and most powerful athletes are also drinking the Kool-Aid?
Yeah, trying to shrink theirs.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And so, like, what I hear from you is, yay, celebrate women are finally like trying to get strong and building muscle. However, yeah, there's still this umbrella, there's still this shadow.
As long as I can still be really skinny too, please.
Yeah,
You know?
it's still this monster of, but you still need to look a certain way. But yay, have muscles and strong bones, go you. But you still need to fit into this box. And it can be really, really hard. Sometimes it feels freaking impossible to try to shake that off and to go, no, this is what my body looks like. I'm getting strong. I'm getting strong bones. I am moving my body and exercising in the way that I love so that I can support my body when it's older. Full stop. That is
Mm.
really hard in the society that we live in for all those reasons you have just mentioned. Agreed. And when you've got, someone who's been celebrated in the past for being so strong and so good at what they do in their sport, to then be reduced to wanting to look as small as possible
It's
or as
really
much
sad, isn't it?
as you can. Oh my God, I was heartbroken when I saw that story. Yeah, yeah, really, really sad because they're the people who we thought we were looking up to. Mm. So,
And as physical role models, as body role models, there's a lot of athletes that I kind of point out to, my own daughters, but also to the women in my community, going like, "Hey, look at this! Well, like, look how strong she is! Look how powerful she is!" And then when those people, let's be honest, really let us down, um,
mm,
mostly because they're being paid a lot of money for it, and second of all, because they're obviously being sold the same, pardon my language, bullshit that we've been sold.
mm.
It's incredibly sad.
Yeah, I agree. Really disappointing. So, Kate, what changed? Because, by the way, I did not know you used to be a cheerleader for the Roosters. That's so interesting.
6 years, they nearly gave me a long service leave.
I didn't know that about you. Surprises every time I talk to you. Where was the shift? Where was that shift in you, like mentally, where you went from trying to look a certain way aesthetically, trying to look like that long willowy dancer when that's not what your body naturally wanted to do, to like where you are now? Can you pinpoint that or
Yeah, yeah, I actually can. There's a
your body?
very specific point in time because, as I mentioned, I work with teenagers, and so the first iteration of Empower 360 was a program for teen girls.
Mm,
And so I really wanted to help teenage girls kind of challenge those body ideals and help them to celebrate their bodies and train for uh, strength over aesthetics. And so I realized though that after, maybe a couple of years into it, that I still had all these bloody body hang-ups. And all of a sudden I just went,
mm,
this needs to stop. Like, how on earth am I ever going to talk the talk if I can't even walk the walk myself? And it was something as simple as, I know, I was a body attack instructor for a really long time. And it was something as simple as the fact that I had never, ever worn a pair of running shorts on
mm,
stage. I'd always worn long tights, and not pattern tights, because pattern tights will make your legs look fat too, only the dark colors and the solid colors. And I
mm.
just remember one day, am I allowed to swear on this podcast?
Yeah, we
Oh,
can say it's explicit language. It's fine. Go.
wonderful. Because I remember just one day just going, fuck this. Like, what am I doing? And how on earth could I possibly be a role model for any young woman and tout all of this body positivity if I can't even fucking wear a pair of shorts? So it was really like this line in the sand moment that day. And I called myself out on stage as well. I stood up and went, guys, like, I need to talk to you about this. Did you know that this is the first time that I have ever worn running shorts in my whole entire life? And these are the reasons why. And this is the reason why it stops today.
What reactions did you get from everyone when you did?
Rounds of applause. It was really cool. Yeah, like the whole class, like clapped and cheered. I didn't do it for claps and cheers,
Yeah.
but it was really nice to kind of see that, there was a room full of people that were on board with that message.
I wonder, I don't know if you noticed, but did you notice anyone, like more people wearing shorts the week after?
I didn't know, but I do know that I have had some private conversations with people since then
Mm,
that have said, I'm like, thank you so much. And, you made me brave enough to be able to, wear a crop top in class or show my body or, um, And from social media posts as well, because I have shared bits and pieces about this on my socials, and I've had people approach me
Mhm.
and say thank you, which is really cool.
I love that. And so often our clients, this is like generalized, our clients think that as the trainer, you have it all together, that you are so confident in your body and that you are rocking whatever you're wearing. And that is sometimes, very often, not what is going through a trainer's
If
head.
only they knew the shit show that was going on behind the scenes, Lou.
Totally. But yeah, as a trainer, you're not immune to the pressures that we
Yeah.
feel through society. And yeah, it's there's a lot going on in our heads as well. And I love how you were then that role model for those people, like we were talking about sporting role models earlier. And you have been that role model for so many women, girls, women, older women now. And it's oh, I love it. Um, Very often we come across social media posts where there's, oh, I'm going to make air quotes, but you can't see it if it's a podcast, air quotes, Fitspo,
Yes.
which can kind of be very misleading. Even the ones that are saying like, this is how I build muscle, or this is, how I look. It often starts with like a little ab check, the ones that like sit back and they lift their top and they're like, ooh, abs. And then, yeah. Um, how can we, or how have you got any advice on how we, your clients, anyone listening, can get your attitude of fuck that? What advice have you got for saying stopping ourselves from comparing what we see? Stopping ourselves from comparing ourselves to what we see on social media. Oh, that was a lot of words.
Yeah, and look, it's a really good, it's a tricky one, right? Because the social media is insidious.
Yes.
And often, the Fitspo or the Thinspo masquerading as
Mm.
Fitspo is really hard to spot.
Yeah.
Um, and so I guess my biggest piece of advice is to deliberately and intentionally fill your feed with body positive
Yeah.
influences.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be really embarrassed because none of them come to mind at this very point in time. Oh, the people like Body Posy Panda or Jessamine Stanley. And, oh my God, like let's talk about Alona Ma and
Oh my
Sarah
god,
Byrne.
one of my
I
favorites.
am so frigging thrilled to bits that there is some like world class female athletes that are really showing up on social media at the moment, that are really pushing that message, of strong is. Well, how good was Alona Ma's ESPYS speech?
Speech. I know. I was like, don't cry, don't cry. Listening to it,
I know, like kitch it,
empowering.
father, put another plate on the bar. Strong is beautiful, strong is sexy. She's just, oh my
Mhm.
God. Next to you, she's my next hero, Lou. So I guess the answer to the question is give your airtime to those sorts of accounts. I mean, we know that the Instagram algorithm or any social media algorithm can be pretty insidious. I give a lot of my time and attention to accounts like those, and yet, my explore part of my feed is still filled with before and afters.
Yeah, yeah. I think the problem with that, though, is you're very right. You used the word masquerading earlier. We have a lot of not only health kind of based accounts masquerading, or thinspo masquerading as fitspo. Not only do we have that, but we have body positivity kind of, or thinspo masquerading as body positivity. So it's that, embrace your body how it is.
But look how skinny mine is. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And it's that's not the message that you end up getting. And so there's
Yeah.
this whole, like, you think that you're following all the right pages, or the pages that will be really helpful, or the people who'll be really helpful, and sometimes it's not. And unless you know and you work in that area like we do, it can be really hard to pick that apart. And suddenly you're getting advice, nutrition advice from trainers, or inspo, whatever. nutrition advice from people who aren't trained in nutrition or the correct exercise.
Yeah, here's what I eat in a day,
Yeah, ooh, ooh, I hate that. And it gets really, really confusing. So, yes, find the right people to follow. And if you're not sure, ask Kate.
Yeah, or do your course, Lou.
Or do the Body Resilient Mum course. Yes, thanks, Kate.
Highly recommend that every woman should do that course.
So we, oh, thanks. We've talked about the importance of focusing on strength over aesthetics and why strong is better than being small. What we haven't actually talked about is why. Because for a very, very long time, we've thought that lean and losing weight, not that there's anything wrong with losing weight. Oh my God, this is a whole nother podcast, I feel. Um, Being lean and losing weight is not necessarily a bad thing. However, what are the dangers in solely focusing on that over strength training in terms of like our physical health, especially as we age? So kind of getting into the nitty gritty now, the biology of, why do we need to be strong?
Yeah, bone density and muscle mass. Like if we are, starving ourselves or even restricting what we're eating and focusing on, becoming smaller, that has to come from somewhere, and it doesn't always come from body fat, right? That reduction in size is coming from your muscle mass.
Mm,
And it's coming from your bones. And so, if we're focusing on becoming smaller, and shrinking our bodies rather than becoming stronger. I can't remember the exact stat, but I know that, it's like something like 1 to 2% of muscle mass lost every year in your 30s, and then sort of 2 to 3 in your 40s, and then 3+ in your 50s. And it's up to like 8%, I think, by the time you get to your 70s. And
yeah.
so if you think like year on year, by your 70s, you're losing somewhere around 8% of your muscle mass. If you don't have a lot to start with because you've spent your whole entire teenage years and, let's call them your childbearing years, not putting money in the bank, that's kind of how I like to refer to it, as, as money in the bank for your longevity and your wellness when you're older. You're literally robbing yourself of health.
Mm,
I saw Barry Elvish, the CEO of Oz Active. He spoke at Filex on Friday. For those who don't know, Filex is the fitness and lifestyle expo. I went to the Business Owners Summit, and he was saying that, the average life expectancy of an Australian is somewhere around, I think it's 83 for men, 85 for women. But the average healthy life expectancy is a decade earlier, which means that that last 10 years for a
mm,
lot of Australians is going to be spent institutionalized. And for women, particularly, I mean, we haven't even talked about pelvic floor, but incontinence is actually one of the main reasons why a woman ends up in a nursing home.
yeah,
So
yeah.
not only do we need to focus on our bone density and our strength, we also need to focus on our pelvic floor so that we can have, who wouldn't want a whole nother decade of their life at home, healthy, being able to chase after and pick up their grandkids rather than needing assistance to open a jar and get up out of a chair.
That's it, isn't it? It's having that independence, and you don't have to be aiming to go rock climbing when you're in your 80s or 90s. Like, you just want to be at home, being independent enough to open a jar.
Open your own damn jar.
Yeah, yeah. When I broke my wrist a few months ago and I couldn't open
Yeah.
jars and stuff, I was like, that's all I thought about. I was like, oh my God, what if like this was me when I was, not that I'm obsessed with peanut butter, but I'm like, what if I can't get into my peanut butter when I'm 80, or even opening cans and stuff, and just having that. I know it's nothing like being older, but it was just the smallest, smallest little insight into not being able to do something physical. I was like, oh my God, this is awful. Like, I was having to ask my husband to open things. Like, I hate doing that.
Unless it's taking out the rubbish.
But opening stuff, I'm like, no, no, I can do it. Yeah, and that for me, I was like, oh, I don't like this. And
Yeah.
that was just like the smallest insight. But for women, that was really interesting what you just said about for women not being able to go home, incontinence is one of the reasons. Is that also not being able to get to a bathroom, get on the toilet, get off the toilet again safely? As in,
That's a really good question, and I don't know the answer to that. But I mean, it tracks, right? It makes sense that even, yeah, something as simple as being able to get up and down off the toilet safely is probably
mm,
going to impede a woman's capacity to care for herself at home.
yeah,
And
and
because usually by that stage she's outlived her husband too, so she's usually living by herself.
yeah, yeah, totally. And if you can't do a squat when you are older, you're going to end up in a nursing home. So that is, oh, one of the most compelling reasons I can think of as to why we should start strength training. I know all the research suggests that you should start strength training in your teens, 20s. But if you didn't, if you've missed that boat and you've not strength trained before, Kate, is there anything that we can do now? Is it too late to start? I don't know, at our age, in our 40s?
Never, never, ever, 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 ever too late to start. I'm like, there's a saying that says like the best time to buy property was 10 years ago, the next best time is now. I think that absolutely is appropriate to strength training as well. Like, yes, the best time to start is in your teens or 20s. The next best time to start is right now. And I wish I knew the stats, but I know that there is studies that have proven that, women in their 60s and 70s can gain muscle mass and become stronger.
Yeah. So even with that drop in estrogen, you've gone through menopause, estrogen has stopped being produced. You can still build muscle. Ah,
100%.
yes, love it. So yeah, never any excuse. You've got to find the right trainer, hey, who can help you.
Yeah, fortunately, there's some cracking mum safe trainers around the country that
Like,
all believe in strength over size and can all help women of all ages and stages get super strong.
yeah, amazing. So for not just the mums listening, Kate, but all the women listening, I'm going to drop you in it now. This is a big question.
Oh,
What message? What message would you leave them with if this was like your last chance to shout about strong over being small or strong over skinny? What would be your message to them now?
yeah. Now, the thing that most women say to me, like when we do our goal setting session and we kind of start to unpick all the pieces as to why it's so important for them to achieve the thing that they said that they want to do. More often than not, the number one reason is I want to be a good example for my children. And so I think and not that we should ever do anything in service of anybody else. We want to be strong and powerful just for ourselves. But I do know that for many, many women in my community, that they say that one of the biggest reasons is because they want to be a good role model for their children. I think the single greatest gift that any woman could give the next generation is just to love herself first and focus on making herself stronger and happier.
Mm. And so often, I love that, by the way. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Amazing.
you didn't. I was done.
I I very often think we as mums and women, we feel guilty and we feel that it's selfish to go off and go to the gym or go and train, go off for that run, go and spend half an hour in the garage lifting our own weights. Um, and it's not, because not only are we investing for our own future, but yeah, we're showing our children or whoever's watching that exercise, strength is important, looking after our body is so important. And I imagine a lot of the young women or women in general that you work with, when their kids come along and watch, like how
Oh,
amazing is that? Like they just grow up knowing that that's normal. Like exercise is a normal part of life.
yeah. And look, I do know this stat. The predicted physical activity of a child is directly impacted by the physical activity of their mum, particularly under the age of 4.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And I know we both have the same sort of sessions, and I even get goosebumps just thinking about it. You know, those little moments where like a tiny little 3-year-old will start doing push-ups on their toes, or
Yep.
you know, or you get those videos from women after training where they're like, look at my kid, and there's like a kid out the back on the step doing box jumps, or you know,
Yeah.
it's just it's the best. And yeah, that is part of their natural upbringing. You know, it just becomes part of their daily life, I guess, is what I'm saying.
I love hearing when some of my clients talk about the games that their kids play at home and they play boot camp. And it's like, I'm an instructor. We're going to do squats and I'm going to be Lou. No, I'm going to be Lou. It's
Oh, it's
great.
the best.
And to them, it's like, it's fun and it's a game. And I really wish I'd have grown up with that. Like, my mum was active, but it
Yeah,
was very much a thing where she'd draw the curtains in the lounge room and it was all
really.
like, close the door, no one can see me. I'm going to put my VHS video tape in because it was the 80s. And it was something that was, I think, held some embarrassment for her. Maybe not as
Oh,
the gym, but I do remember exercise being like oh, it's a private thing. Like, okay, she doesn't want anyone.
interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd like it to be different for my kids. And obviously your girls see you dance, they see you move, they see you train, they see all of that.
Yeah, I love it. We were somewhere not so long ago, actually. Oh, one of our favorite things to do as a family is like a family amazing race style scavenger hunt around Sydney City. Um, so much fun. Yeah, split into two teams, and we've got this whole entire list of things that are from all over the city, and the different things are worth the different points. And then you have to belt around the city, taking photos of all the things that you spot. And just like Amazing Race, you'll have to make it back to the checkpoint by a certain amount of time. Um, and I was with the littlest one, and I think it was her 10th birthday, actually. So maybe it was about a year and a half ago. Um, and we were running really late for something to try and get back. And so we had to belt up this, like we're in the rocks. And so
Yeah.
I don't, for anybody who lives in Sydney and understands where the rocks is, there's some epic sets of stairs. And she's like, Mummy, my legs are so sore. Please, can you carry me? And I was like, oh, okay. She goes, I know you can do this, Mum. Let's go. And then like was this little cheerleader in my ear as I like pelted up these stairs with, you know, a 20-kilo child on my back.
You get to the top.
Correct. Yeah, just about to die. She's going, see, Mum, I knew you could do it.
Oh, she knows how to motivate you.
Yeah, once in a while they propaganda me back again. You know, I think um I always tell my daughters that, you know, because they do a lot of dance classes and they pull up sore quite a bit. And when they were very small, I remember one of them saying to me, "Oh, Mommy, my legs are so tired." I was like, "That's okay. That's just your body's way of telling you you did a good job."
Yeah.
And then it was only, I don't know, a few days later or something. And I think, you know, I'd had leg day the day before and was walking like a baby giraffe and had to walk up the stairs at home. And I was like, oh my God, my legs are so sore. And my little daughter just goes, that's okay, Mummy. That's just your body's way of telling you you've done a good job. It's like,
You're like, what have
shut
I
up.
said? Oh, no.
For those of you who are not watching this on the podcast, I just gave one of my children the double bird middle finger for that comment.
They'll never know. It's fine.
They'll never know.
Okay. If people wanted to find you, either your website or social media, and get in touch, ask questions, or just follow you because you're an awesome human, where can they find you?
Everything is Empower 360 Fitness. So EMPOWER 360 Fitness, all one word, on all of the things: Instagram, website, Facebook. I don't
Brilliant.
have the tiki talkie.
No,
Can't do it.
I think it's a generational thing, and I'm not part of that generation.
Yeah, neither.
Amazing. And we talked about following people who fill your feed with positive messages and positive body image stuff earlier. Kate is one of those people. So if you need to know where to start on your positive body image journey and filling your social media feed, make Kate the first person you follow because she is empowering and positive and will make you feel like the awesome person you deserve to feel like.
No,
Thanks.
thanks, Queen.
Thanks for joining me. It was heaps of fun. As always, I do love our catch-ups.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, Lou.
See you, lovely. Bye.
Thanks, lady.
If you've enjoyed what you've heard, make sure you hit follow wherever you listen to your podcasts, rate and review so that more mums can start to challenge societal norms when it comes to what their body should look like. For further information on what I've covered in this episode or to connect with me in person, head to the link in the show notes. You'll also find the link to enrol in my online course, The Body Resilient Mum Project. Until next time, bye for now.